What's up everyone, welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over Google search ads and I'm going to be creating a full campaign from start to finish in this video. So it's going to be a very long video and I'm going to be using the Google Ads interface, I'm going to be using the Google Keyword Planner, and I'm also going to be using Google Ads Editor. So I'm going to go through a little bit of each of these tools and show you how I build my own search campaigns. So if you're looking for more of my Google Ads tutorial, you can find that. I'll link this video in the description. You're going to see my Google Ads tutorial for 2020. So this is how to create a basic campaign. It goes over conversion tracking. So everything you basically need to get started with Google Ads. So if you do watch this video and you're looking for a little bit more information about building search campaigns, that's why I'm going to go through this video. I'm going to be creating a video for my website, farmhousegoals.com. So essentially what I want is to send people to my website, get them to come in here, look at some of my products, hopefully click on learn more and go off to some of my affiliates, click on some of my advertisements for Amazon and other affiliates, and hopefully get people to go to those websites and purchase products. That's ultimately my goal. It's going to be hard to drive a positive return on ad spend. One of the main questions I get is how to run Google Ads campaigns for affiliate marketing. It can be really difficult to do. So I'm going to do my best to create a campaign that's going to be profitable for me. And I'm going to run the campaign for a little bit and I'll go over optimization strategies as well. So to get started, what I would recommend always doing with any campaign on Google Ads is making sure that you have your conversion tracking completely set up and recording properly. So what you want to do is go to Tools and Settings. Under Measurement, you're going to see Conversions. So in Conversions, it's going to show any of the conversion actions that you've already imported and created in your account. And you can also create conversion action sets if you're optimizing for multiple conversions that are happening on your website. So for me personally, I'm going to be going with this D conversion FHG and also my outbound clicks conversion. So what I've done is I've created a conversion action set and you're going to see it's my FHG conversion set main. So it's using these two conversion actions and they're going to be the two conversion actions that I'm optimizing for in this search campaign. So they're the two main key performance indicators for my website. So when I get conversions, it means there's value back to my website and it ultimately drives revenue for my business. So what we're going to do is come back here. We have our conversion tracking all set up. So we're ready to build our search campaign. Now, before you build a search campaign, you need a goal. So my goal is to send traffic to these different pages on my website. I'm also going to be testing landing pages, so I'll go through that process in this video. And I'm ultimately going to take all of these different pages, so farmhouse TV stands, farmhouse wood signs, metal farmhouse signs, farmhouse curtains. So all of these different pages, I'm going to target relevant keywords, drive traffic to these pages, and create the best advertisements I possibly can, and then try to see if I can drive conversions at a low enough cost to continue running this Google Ads campaign. Now, for some businesses, and especially affiliate businesses, it can be very difficult to run Google Ads campaigns or any paid advertising and get a positive return on ad spend. So that's ultimately going to be my goal for this campaign. Now, I might end up incorporating more goals over time, but right now I just want to send people to these pages on my website. So you're going to see farmhouse TV stands. Most of my pages look pretty similar, except they just list different products for sale. So when someone comes in here, they see farmhouse TV stands. I want people to shop these farmhouse TV stands and go through to my affiliates and hopefully purchase some of these. So if I can drive people here, they buy a $1,000 farmhouse TV stand off my website, then I know that I can continue running this campaign. So we're going to see how this ends up performing. So what we're going to be doing is coming back over here to Google Ads, and we're going to get right into creating our campaign. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here, create a new campaign. The goal for me is going to be leads. So both of my conversion actions are lead conversion actions. They both tie into outbound clicks. So I'm trying to drive traffic to my affiliates, drive traffic to different advertisers on my website, and those are going to be leads for me. So I'm going to click on leads. Our campaign type is going to be search. And then what we're going to be doing is using website visits to reach our goal. And our website is going to be farmhousegoals.com. Now, this is going to be a pretty long video. It takes a while to create Google Ads search campaigns, especially ones that are going to be as intensive as this. So if we come over here to blog posts and we just look, I have 94 blog posts, well, 93 published blog posts here. So I'm going to have probably at least 50 to 75 ad groups total. And I might end up having over 100 ad groups, depending on the amount of keywords I start to target. So as I'm creating this campaign, it is going to take some time. So that's why I'm also going to be using Google Ads Editor, because it's much easier to make bulk changes and create a lot of ad groups at once. But what I want to do is I want to start by building my campaign directly in the Google Ads interface. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Ads Editor, you can come here to this page, ads.google.com, and you're going to see it's under Tools, Ads Editor. If you just search Google Ads Editor directly into Google, it'll be the top result, and you can download Google Ads Editor. So it's an actual software on your computer where you're allowed to make changes to your campaigns, and you can see here it lets you work offline. So essentially what I can do is make a ton of changes to my campaigns, and then once you're done making changes, you post those changes to your Google Ads account. You can also get recent changes. So as I create this campaign, I'm going to get recent changes. It'll pull my new campaign in here. So for example, I can come in here, I can pause this campaign, post it, and in my Google Ads account, it'll then be paused. So it's a great way to manage your Google Ads campaigns and especially create Google Ads campaigns. When you need to make bulk changes, I highly recommend using Ads Editor. I'm going to create a new tutorial for Ads Editor in the coming weeks so people know how to use it for your search, display, and video campaigns. Okay, so we're going to start here. We have our type as a search campaign. Our goal is leads. So we're going to name our campaign first. We'll do Farmhouse Goals Conversion Search Campaign 2020. Okay, so that's going to be my main campaign for my Farmhouse Goals website. I created a different campaign in my tutorial. This is going to be the main campaign that I'm running because it's going to be really intensive in terms of ad creation, ad extensions, and the amount of keywords and ad groups that I'm using. Under networks, you want to include the search network, Google Search Partners. You do not want to include the Google Display Network. Your Google Display Network and Google Display Ads should be in completely separate campaigns. I never include the Display Network for my search campaign. So we're going to keep coming down, show more settings, so we can do start and end dates, campaign URL options, and dynamic search ads. I'm not going to be doing that for this campaign. In locations, I'm going to be using United States. Under languages, I'm going to be choosing English. Keep coming down. So audiences. So you can add audiences to your campaign. So what I'm going to do is add a few audiences here. Essentially with audiences, it allows you to bid higher or lower on these audiences when people, let's come over here to browse. Let's say people in an in-market audience search one of my keywords. I can bid higher or lower on them based on the in-market audience that they're in. So what I'm going to do is start with remarketing audiences. And we're going to come over here to website visitors. I'm going to use this all users 540 days. So anybody who's been to my website in the last 540 days, if they start looking up farmhouse decor and they start searching some of my targeted keywords, I want to make sure I'm bidding a little bit higher on them. Now the setting you want to use is observation. So that means you're not narrowing the reach of your campaign. It essentially just allows you to bid higher or lower on this audience. If you choose targeting, it means only people in this audience are going to see your search ads when they search your keywords. So it's really going to narrow down your campaign. I don't really ever use targeting here. It would only make sense if you have a really small budget and you want to really focus on specific audiences. But in this case, I'm going to use this website visitors audience. And what we'll do is we'll come over here to ideas and I'll use home decor. So I'm going to use an in-market audience for home decor. This is going to be a little bit more broad, but at least I know that these people are currently in the market for home decorations. So hopefully they're interested in farmhouse decor too, and they should be if they search some of my keywords. So we're going to use these two audiences right now, and we're going to end up bidding a little bit higher for both of these audiences. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Next is going to be our budget. So the average I want to spend each day. So for my budget, the average I want to spend each day is $15. I can always increase this later, but for right now, $15 is what I'm going to run for a little while, and we're going to see how this ends up performing for me. So next we're going to come down to bidding. So there's a lot of different strategies you can go with bidding here. So if I just choose the default setting here, it's going to use the maximize conversions bid strategy, which is essentially going to try to get me the most conversions for my budget. Now, the best thing to do here is test. Me personally, what I like to do is come in here and use manual CPC and use enhanced CPC, so to optimize for conversions. So this allows me to set my own bids on keywords. So with this, I can control costs much better, and I can make sure I'm setting my bids really low. Since I'm going to have a large campaign where I'm targeting all of these different keywords, what I'm going to be able to do is bid really low and hopefully drive a lot of traffic to my website, and hopefully that turns into a lot of conversions. Now, over time, what I can do is change to target CPA or maximize conversions. If you have actual revenue coming into your Google Ads account, you want to use target return on ad spend. That allows you to actually optimize for revenue and value. Target CPA is going to be optimizing for conversions at the lowest cost, and maximize conversions, you allow Google Ads to set bids automatically to hopefully get you the most conversions within your budget. For me, I like to have a little bit more control over the beginning of the campaign, so I'm going to use manual CPC. If you don't want to set your own bids, I would recommend using target CPA and then setting a target CPA here that's going to be the best for your business. So for me personally, I would set a target CPA of $4 and hopefully I can get $4 conversions or less over time. Now, I've worked with some clients where the target CPA is $100, but that's because the average customer is going to be worth much more than $100. So paying $100 for a conversion is worth it for certain businesses. So your target CPA is really dependent on how much revenue each conversion is going to end up driving to your business. So the better you can track that, the better it comes for your bidding strategy. So for target CPA, I would set a $4 target CPA. With manual CPC, I'm going to create my own bids, and I'm going to bid very low in the beginning of this campaign. So help increase conversions with enhanced CPC. This allows Google Ads to bid higher or lower on specific keywords when they think a conversion is more likely or less likely to happen. So that's going to be bidding. We can come down here to show more settings. So with conversions, I showed you before that I have a conversion action set. So I'm going to choose conversion actions for this campaign and select specific conversion actions. Up here, you're going to see conversion action sets. It's a little whited out, so you can't really see it too well. But over here is conversion actions. Up here is conversion action sets. And I'm going to be using my FHD conversion set main. So we're going to choose this one here, click on save. Okay, so now we have our conversion action set. Ad schedule will be all day. Ad rotation will be optimized. Prefer the best performing ads. Next is going to be ad extensions. So I always create ad extensions at the very end. So I could use ad extensions at the campaign level right now. But for right now, I'm going to do ad extensions at the end, and we're going to click on save and continue. So we can get started with creating our ad group. So for right now, I'm just going to create one ad group, and I'm going to use the example I've been showing, farmhouse TV stands. So essentially the main keyword I want to bid on is farmhouse TV stands. So I'm going to keep it really simple in this campaign. I'm not going to be targeting a ton of different keywords, but one of the things you can do is if you're not sure which keywords to target, you can either use the keyword planner or use keyword research tool that is built into Google Ads. So it's going to use my website, enter my product or service. I can type here farmhouse TV stand. I don't find this to be the best way to look up keywords. So if we look at it, you're going to see some things that aren't overly relevant to farmhouse TV stands. So that's why what I like to do is just come over to the keyword planner. If I'm not sure which keywords I want to target, I'll go to the keyword planner, discover new keywords. And what I can do is just type in here farmhouse TV stand, click on get results. And if we scroll down here, you're going to see it's going to give me the most relevant keywords. So this is the keyword I entered, farmhouse TV stand. You can see 18,000 monthly searches. The other thing I like is you can get bid ranges. So the top of page bid in the low range is 33 cents. In the high range is $1.27. I'm going to end up bidding about 20 cents for all of these different keywords. So my bids are going to start very low. I can always increase those bids over time. So even if you see 33 cents here, you can always bid even lower than that because you can increase your bids. So what I'm going to do is I can take some of these keywords here, farmhouse TV stand, maybe I'll do farmhouse TV console. What I like to do is look at user intent. Someone who's looking up farmhouse TV console is looking at the same thing as farmhouse TV stands. Now, people who are looking for modern farmhouse TV stands, white farmhouse TV stand, I could use this keyword farmhouse style TV stand, farmhouse media console. So I could use a few of these different keywords here, but I wouldn't use white farmhouse TV stand or farmhouse TV stand with fireplace unless I'm sending people specifically to a landing page on my website that's only listing white farmhouse TV stands or that's only listing farmhouse TV stands with fireplace. So I might end up targeting these keywords, but for right now, what I'll use is farmhouse media console, farmhouse TV console, farmhouse style TV stand, and farmhouse TV stand. So I'm going to enter those keywords here. We'll name our ad group first. So farmhouse TV stands, default bid. I'll just use 20 cents for right now. Now we'll get rid of all these keywords they entered here. You're going to see down here some keyword match types. So the keyword match types that I generally use are broad match modified. So with that, it's going to look like farmhouse TV stands. I'll use phrase match. So with phrase match, that's going to be in quotes. So with that, it's farmhouse TV stands. And then you can use exact match. So that's going to be farmhouse TV stands. Now, I don't generally target all three in the same ad group. The way I look at it is if I really want to broaden my search, if I have a larger budget, if I want to reach people, more people just based on synonyms and different types of keywords where Google Ads is going to expand my keyword and target more search queries that are going to be related to the keyword that I'm targeting, then I'll use this broad match modified. Now, one thing you're going to see down here is broad match. I never use broad match keywords. So with broad match keywords, you're just coming in here and you're doing farmhouse TV stands with absolutely no modifiers at all. There's no quotes, no brackets, no plus signs. So if there's nothing, this is going to be really wide ranging, and a keyword like this, farmhouse TV stands, might match for something like rustic media console. So it's a keyword that's a little bit different, and it might have the same intent for users where people are looking up farmhouse TV stands, but broad match keywords to me make things a little bit too broad. It could be useful for advertisers with large budgets, advertisers who are looking to test and find new keywords. However, what I want to do is just use phrase match keywords. So with phrase match keywords, what that means is Google Ads is going to only target search queries that use this phrase. So someone might come into Google and search something like white farmhouse TV stands. In that case, this would match this individual search query. So if you want things to be really, really targeted, you can use exact match keyword, but that ends up narrowing your campaign a little bit too much in my opinion. So for me, what I like to do is use phrase match keywords. I think that gives you a good happy medium. It allows you to target a lot of different keywords. And if we come over here to the keyword planner, you're going to see there's different ways people are going to look up farmhouse TV stands, whether it's modern, and you can see something like rustic farmhouse TV stand. Now over here, you're going to see farmhouse corner TV stand. Since corner is in the middle of this phrase, this would actually not match for my targeted search term. So what I'm going to do is take the 4 keywords that I mentioned earlier, and we're going to use those as phrase match keywords. So it's going to be farmhouse TV stands. Okay, so we have these 4 keywords here. If you're looking over here at daily estimates, it's showing that we're likely to get 0 clicks per day. So what you can always do is increase this default bid if you're seeing your forecast data too low. Let's see, if I increase it to 45 cents, there's a better chance of me getting a click per day. Now, if I increase it to $1.50, then I'm probably going to get a lot more clicks per day. So it's going to be 4 clicks per day, but my average cost per click is going to be at $1.02. That's not going to be worthwhile for this campaign. So my default bid, what I'll do is, since it looks so low, I'll start it at 25 cents. So our ad group is farmhouse TV stands. We're targeting 4 really relevant keywords here, and we're going to be sending traffic to our farmhouse TV stands page. I'm also going to be testing landing pages. I'll go through that in the ad creation process. So we can click on save and continue. And now the next thing is going to be creating an expanded text ad, and you can also create responsive search ads as well. Usually what I'll do when I'm going through this is create expanded text ads first. So we'll take our final URL, we'll copy up here, and we're going to enter our farmhouse TV stands final URL. We can enter our headline here. So let's just do, okay, so we did best farmhouse TV stands in the first headline, headline 2, farmhouse goals, so just our brand name, and headline 3, shop farmhouse furniture today. Now with display path, we can adjust the way this URL looks. So all I'm going to do is just come in here and do TV stands. So we have farmhousegoals.com/TV stands. And next we can enter our 2 description lines. Okay, so we have shop farmhouse goals today for the top rated farmhouse TV stands and media consoles. And then description 2, if you're looking for farmhouse TV stands, you will find one at farmhouse goals. So a couple description lines. So that's pretty much it. We can do done and create next ad, and we can start to create our next advertisement here. Okay, so we have our next advertisement. It's pretty similar, just farmhouse style TV stands, shop farmhouse goals, and then headline 3, we'll do beautiful rustic furniture. We'll keep the display path the same. We kept description line 1 the same, and then in description line 2, we have discover the best farmhouse TV stands and rustic style media consoles for your farm home. So we can click on done and create next ad. That's going to bring us to responsive search ads. So with responsive search ads, you have the option to add a bunch of different headlines, a bunch of different description lines. And what Google Ads is going to do is essentially show a lot of different ad combinations. And the more headlines you add, the more description lines you add, and the more unique they are, the better your ads are going to perform over time. So essentially what you want to do is fill out all these different headlines, and you want them to be somewhat unique. So you might have something like best farmhouse TV stands, farmhouse style TV stands. I can create one that's just farmhouse TV stands. I could do farmhouse media consoles. I can do, okay, so it's showing our ad strength is excellent here. We have final URL set. We have our display URL set. We have all of our headlines set here, and we have 4 different description lines. So what we're able to do now is click on done. Okay, so we have 3 separate advertisements for this individual ad group. So we're going to end up doing this for all of our ad groups. So we're targeting 4 keywords. They're all phrase match keywords. We're going to be sending traffic to our farmhouse TV stands landing page. And you can see our advertisements all closely match the keywords that we're targeting and the landing page that we're sending traffic to. So ultimately what you want to do is give people a very relevant experience. And now what we can do is click on save and continue, and it's going to create our campaign where we have our 1 ad group set up. So what I can do is come down here and go to continue to campaign. And now what we can do, since we have the campaign created, we can come into Google Ads Editor, we can come to get recent changes, go to more data, all campaigns, and click on OK. And what it's going to do is download that campaign directly into Google Ads Editor. Okay, so any of the changes that were recently made, it's going to show here. If you have any warnings, you're going to see a little sign that looks like this. So generally that just tells you to target audiences, or it tells you to make sure you're setting up ad extensions. It usually just gives you some tips for how to improve your campaign. But right now we have this campaign downloaded. So this is the one we just created in Google Ads. We can download it immediately into our Google Ads Editor, click on done, and now we have this campaign here. So I can easily start to edit this campaign. So what I like to do is just come over here on the left-hand side. We can click on our campaign. If we click on ad groups, you're going to see, we'll expand this a bit, farmhouse TV stands. If we click on keywords and targeting, so we'll expand this again. So farmhouse style TV stands, you can see we have a phrase match keyword type. If we come down to ads, you can see we have one responsive search ad, and then we have 2 expanded text ads. So as we continue to build out this campaign, we're going to be able to see all the changes we made here. You can see we just have one ad group right now, so I want to continue to create more and more ad groups. So I'm going to go over how to create ad groups in Google Ads Editor, but for right now, I want to come back to the Google Ads interface, and I want to create a few more ad groups directly in the interface. Okay, so we're going to go on and create our next ad group, and I'm just going to keep going down the list. So these are all going to be my landing pages, and on every page there's relevant products for sale. So we're just going to get right into farmhouse wood signs, farmhouse metal signs, just farmhouse signs, farmhouse curtains. So we're going to create some of these different ad groups now. I'm going to kind of fast forward through the ad creation process a little bit. Once you see me do it once or twice, it kind of gets repetitive. So I really want to focus on how I'm organizing the campaign more than anything. So for ad group 2, it's going to be wood farmhouse signs. And again, what we can do is use some of this keyword research over here just to see if there's any ideas that we can add. So wood farmhouse signs, press enter. Okay, so these ones gave some relevant keywords, but again, these are a little bit different than what I would want to bid on. Now, something I could do is wooden farm signs. One thing to keep in mind is if you are targeting a keyword, let's just say wood farmhouse signs, for example, if someone goes to Google and types in wooden farmhouse sign, this search term would still match this targeted keyword. What Google Ads is essentially doing is saying wood and wooden are synonyms. They're the same exact word, the same exact intent that someone's typing in. And signs and sign, you don't really need to worry about plurals. So you don't need to bid on wood farmhouse signs, wooden farmhouse sign, and then use the plurals and non-plural version of all of these keywords. So wood farmhouse signs on its own would match all of these different options, because essentially what Google is going to do is look at close variants and say synonyms, maybe misspellings, maybe someone goes in and types in something like this. So they know this is going to be a misspelling, and the person who types this into Google, or wooden farmhouse sign, wooden farm sign, has the same intent as someone who's typing in wood farmhouse signs. So it is going to expand to those different keywords. You don't need to worry about plurals too much. So even something like wooden farm signs, I can add this over here, but even this targeted keyword right here could potentially match this right here. As long as they look at farmhouse and farm as synonyms, then Google Ads is going to match it. And you can really expand it if you're using broad match modifier. So if you're using the plus signs in front of each word, it's really going to expand your keywords. So something like farmhouse, if someone types in wooden rustic signs, if you're using this broad match modifier in front of your targeted keywords, so let's just say you have something like wooden farmhouse signs, this could potentially match something like wooden rustic signs, wooden country signs, because it's going to expand your keywords to other search terms. So I like to use phrase match because it keeps it a little bit more targeted, but you're still going to match all of these close variants. So for me, when I'm building campaigns, I usually don't worry too much about adding all these different keywords in here. I'll just add one keyword, and if I start to see more ideas, or if I'm not seeing enough search volume, I'll come over to the keyword planner, I'll go to discover new keywords, and again, just come in here and do wood farmhouse signs, click on get results, and it'll start automatically by giving me the most relevant results here. So I can use some of these different ideas for some relevant results, but just using wood farmhouse signs will match plenty of different search terms that people are typing into Google. I can bid very low, so we'll set our bids at 25 cents, save and continue. This is going to bring us to create ads. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel, and I'm just going to come down here to the bottom and do save and continue. So that's going to create the new ad group here. And what I'm going to start doing is creating my advertisements directly in Google Ads Editor. I think it's much easier to create advertisements in Google Ads Editor than it is to do them in the Google Ads interface. So I'm going to end up creating a lot of my advertisements there. For right now, what I'm going to do is add a few more ad groups. So we'll click on the plus sign again, create another ad group. So for this one's going to be metal farmhouse signs. So again, just keep in mind how important it is to make sure that you're creating different ad groups. Depending on the different landing pages where you're sending traffic, you should have different ad groups to make sure that your ads are really relevant to the keywords you're targeting, and that your landing pages are really relevant to the keywords you're targeting, because the more everything is relevant and everything flows seamlessly, the better your quality scores are going to be and the better overall results you're going to see from your campaign. So we'll come here real quick, make sure we dismiss this for right now. So we have metal farmhouse signs. Again, we'll use the 25-cent bid we've been using, and then we'll come in here and we'll just do metal farmhouse signs and save and continue. And again, we're going to click on cancel. It's automatically going to import our advertisement for farmhouse TV stands. But for right now, we're going to click on cancel and save and continue. So now we have 3 total ad groups. Click on the plus sign. As you can see, I ran this campaign for a little bit. I'm starting to get some clicks for farmhouse TV stands. So no conversions or anything yet, but only spent 99 cents. So not too big of a deal. So click on the plus sign here. And we're going to come back over here to our post, our list of landing pages essentially. So next to me, farmhouse signs. So I usually deal with these keywords a little bit differently since I'm already bidding on metal farmhouse signs and farmhouse wood signs. With just farmhouse signs, I'm just going to target the exact match version of this keyword. So I don't want there to be too much overlap between some of these different options. If I start targeting the phrase match version of farmhouse signs, then this could potentially match when someone types in metal farmhouse signs or wood farmhouse signs. So I'm just going to target the exact match keyword to make sure that that traffic is going into this ad group. And when people are looking for wooden or metal specifically, they're going to find the other ad groups and eventually find these landing pages and more relevant advertisements instead. So come back over to our ad group here and we'll do farmhouse signs. And one of the things I'll do if I'm just targeting exact match keyword is just do exact. So I know in the other ad groups that I'm targeting phrase match keywords, but in this one I know that I'm going to be targeting an exact match keyword. So all I need to do is come in here and use brackets, farmhouse signs. So brackets will signify that it's an exact match keyword. Default bid, we're just going to set this at 25 cents as well. You could bid slightly higher on your exact match keywords. So that's one option you have, but the way I'm targeting keywords, I think it's fine just to use this as 25 cents. Click on save and continue. And then what we can do, click on cancel again and do save and continue. Okay, so we have 4 total ad groups for right now. So we're going to click on the plus sign again and come back over to our post and you're going to see farmhouse curtains. Now some of these ones right here, farmhouse bedroom ideas, farmhouse pantry ideas, farmhouse bathroom ideas, I'm going to test sending traffic to these pages, but they're not really ones that I'm going to focus on. So I'm going to skip them for now. And I really want to focus on things like farmhouse curtains. And as we scroll down here, things like Ray Dunn bowls, Ray Dunn canisters, keep coming down, bar stools, salt and pepper shakers. So things that are more product based is what I'm really focused on instead of people who are looking for kitchen ideas or design ideas. These types of posts do the best in terms of search engine optimization because more people are looking for ideas and design inspirations than actual products for sale for the most part, and there's not as much competition. So what I'm going to do is just do farmhouse curtains for now, and we're going to enter that here. So farmhouse curtains, and we're going to set our default bid at 25 cents. And again, we're just going to keep this really simple, farmhouse curtains, and we'll do farmhouse style curtains. Okay, so that's good for now. Save and continue. We're going to do cancel again when the advertisement automatically comes up, cancel, and then save and continue. So now we have 5 total ad groups. So I'm going to keep creating ad groups, but what I want to do is pull this data directly into Google Ads Editor. So again, what you want to do is get recent changes. You could do basic. I always click on more data. It's just a natural habit. That's going to download all campaigns. So any changes in my account, one thing you can do is go to get recent changes and you can do more data or basic and then do specific campaigns. So you can do campaigns I select and then just choose the campaigns that you're working on. So this can be useful if you have a large account with a lot of campaigns. I'll do this. For right now, I'm just going to do all campaigns. This account's not too large, mostly just tutorial campaigns I've made in previous videos. Okay, so you can see our ad groups we just created are automatically pulled in here. If we click on wood farmhouse signs, for example, so we'll come over here, click on wood farmhouse signs, and we come down to ads, you're going to see we have 0 advertisements for this individual ad group for right now. So we got to start creating our advertisements. And when you're doing something like signs, for example, and I have 3 different ad groups, it becomes really easy to create multiple advertisements and just change them slightly so that you have different advertisements and you don't have to worry about creating each one individually. So what I could do is come over here to farmhouse TV stands. I can just come to ads and take all of the advertisements. So we could start in expanded text ads, take these, copy them, come over to any of these different ad groups here. So maybe what I'll do is start in farmhouse signs. So we'll come in here, we'll paste these, and then what you can do is just adjust these advertisements. Now, when you're creating ads, and if you do copy and paste them like I did here, I would always recommend setting your final URL first. The last thing you want to do is forget to set your final URL, and then you're ending up sending traffic to the wrong landing page. So we're going to come over here and we're going to copy our final URL. So we're doing farmhouse signs. We'll take here, copy link address. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, so I've thought a little bit about this campaign, is I'm only going to run one expanded text ad. So I'm going to get rid of this first one here, and I'm just going to run one expanded text ad and one responsive search ad in each ad group. And then I'm going to end up duplicating them and adjusting the landing page. So it's going to be 4 total advertisements, but it's really just going to be 2 advertisements duplicated. So we'll start with expanded text ads here. We're in farmhouse signs. So really simple, anywhere it says TV stands, I just want to change to signs. One of the things you can do is take one of these advertisements here, right click on it and do replace text. So essentially you can find text. So I could do TV stands and replace it with signs. Now this isn't going to work for this individual advertisement, but I can do it for all of my furniture advertisements because I have so much about farmhouse furniture and the best types of furniture that people can purchase. It's not going to be the best with signs. They're really more wall decor, wall decorations. So it's not going to work in this case. But if you do need to replace a lot of text, if you're creating a lot of advertisements at once, this is something I use pretty often. You can also use append and add text before or after existing text. So for right now, what I'm going to do is come in here and we're just going to adjust this advertisement. So we're going to do best farmhouse signs. We'll keep headline 2 as farmhouse goals. And then headline 3, we have shop farmhouse furniture today. So I could just do shop farmhouse wall decor. Okay, so description line 1. So in this case, it might be a little bit more difficult to kind of adjust these things around because they are furniture advertisements. So all I can do here in description line 1 is I'll just completely replace both of these description lines. Come down here to path, and what we're going to do is signs. And then what we can do is make sure we change our final URL like I told you about. Got to make sure I change that as well. So we'll come here, copy link address, come back down, make sure we adjust our final URL to farmhouse signs. So right now we have our advertisement pretty much set. We're just going to do the description lines. Now, as you're doing your description lines, one way to make it a little bit easier is you can expand this section over here to the right. So you can always move fields around in Google Ads Editor. So they've made it a lot easier to kind of adjust your screen. So generally what I'll do is when I'm making advertisements is I'll pull this all the way over. So then when you're going through and you start creating advertisements, it becomes much easier to change your description lines and see how your advertisement's going to look. You also get a preview down here at the bottom. So it's pretty easy to see how your ads are looking as you go through each individual ad group. So right down here, we have best farmhouse signs, farmhouse goals, shop farmhouse wall decor, and then we adjusted the description lines as well. So now this advertisement is going to be pretty easy for me to copy and paste into my other ad group. But what I want to do first is make sure I create a responsive search ad in this ad group as well. So we're going to come over to our TV stands. We'll just come over to responsive search ads. We'll copy this right here. And again, come right over here and paste it. So now what we can do is pull this over. Now you're going to see I'm going to have to adjust all of these different things, but anything that can still stay, shop farmhouse goals, I can do beautiful rustic wall decor. So in this case, I could just change furniture to wall decor and all these things by doing that find and replace. However, I'm just going to do this manually. So I'm going to adjust some of these headlines now. Okay, so I created my responsive search ad now for farmhouse signs. So all these headlines should be pretty relevant. You could always double check to make sure I didn't leave any TV stands or anything in there from my previous ad that I just copy and pasted. So all this looks good. Keep scrolling down. I have my description lines, so I was able to easily change those. And then down at the bottom, I change my path to signs, and then my final URL, I make sure I've set at farmhouse signs. So right now, if I come into my farmhouse signs ad group, you're going to see we have one expanded text ad and we have one responsive search ad. So now since I have this, it's really easy for me to take this, copy it and paste it into metal signs, paste it into wood signs. And we're going to do the same thing over here with farmhouse signs in the expanded text ad. So we're going to take this ad right here. We're going to copy it again, go into metal and wood farmhouse signs. Now, one of the things I want to show you is how to test landing pages. So we're going to come back over to farmhouse signs here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the advertisements I've already created. So I have this one responsive search ad. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. So we're just duplicating the advertisement. So same thing with expanded text ads. So I'm doing Control-C, Control-V, but again, you just want to come here, copy it and paste it. So we're just copying and pasting this ad and duplicating it. So now what we can do is test landing pages. Now what I can do is if I come into the second advertisement, you're going to see the final URL here. So we're not going to change anything else about the advertisement. We're just going to be testing landing pages. So all the ad copy is going to look exactly the same. So we're just going to come over here to final URL, and you're going to see our final URL right now is this page right here, Farmhouse Signs. And what I want to test is the page on my website that goes to the product category in the shop portion of my website, so we can see what's going to end up performing better. So we're going to copy this right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to paste this final URL. Now, I know some people say that this might end up hurting my SEO, but ultimately what I do is I use canonical URLs to tell Google that I want this page to rank, because these pages have a lot of the same products on them, they have more products on them, and they have a lot more text and copy. So these are the pages that I want to rank in Google, and my blog posts tend to rank higher than my pages that are just have products on them. So I don't really worry about keyword cannibalization with this website because I'm using my shop because people like to browse the shop portion, and I use the blog posts to essentially drive additional organic search traffic back to my website. So what I can do is I can test these two pages against each other and see which one is going to perform better in Google Ads. And I can do this for all of the different posts that I have here because you can see farmhouse wood signs right here. So if we come over to the product category, one of the product categories I have is wood signs. One of them is metal signs. So in all of these different ad groups, I'm able to test my blog post style pages against these shop pages. So these ones are just products for sale. People can use filters. They can find a lot of the other products I have on my website. And if these end up performing better, then what's going to happen is Google Ads is going to continue to serve the top performing advertisements here. So all I need to do is take this landing page, adjust it for this second advertisement, come over to our responsive search ad, and do the same thing. So we have our first advertisement here. You can see our final URL. We have our second advertisement here, and we can take the final URL and we can copy and paste it right into there. So now we have a different final URL, same exact advertisement, we're just sending traffic to a different place. So I'm going to end up doing that for all of the advertisements in all of my ad groups. So I can do it for farmhouse TV stands, I'm going to do it for metal farmhouse signs and wood farmhouse signs. What I always do is create my advertisements first. Once I'm finally done with them, then I'll go through and I'm going to duplicate them and just adjust the landing pages. So one of the reasons I do use Google Ads Editor is because I find the process of doing all of that much easier in Google Ads Editor than using the actual Google Ads interface. So coming into the Google Ads interface, copying and pasting all my advertisements and adjusting the landing pages for them can be more time consuming in my opinion than just doing it directly in Google Ads Editor. So this is essentially how I create my advertisements and adjust them if I want to change the final URLs. So right now I have 5 total ad groups. So what I can do is keep creating these advertisements, but while I'm working on farmhouse signs, what I want to show you is the other thing that I recommend doing to make sure you're getting the most out of your campaign. Okay, I fast forwarded a little bit. You're going to see I have a little bit more information here. My optimization score has dropped since the last time you've seen it. For now, as I'm working on the campaign, I just dropped my budget to $1 per day. But what I did is I fast forwarded a little bit to create some advertisements. So if we come into this farmhouse curtains ad group, you're going to see I have the same search keywords here, but if we come over to ads and extensions, you're going to see I created my responsive search ad and my expanded text ad for this ad group. So I just want to make sure that all my ads are set up first. So usually the way my process works is as I'm creating each individual ad group, I want to make sure I have my ads created when I'm targeting keywords so that when people do see my advertisements, they're going to see relevant advertisements and it's going to bring them to the right landing pages. So when someone clicks on one of my advertisements for farmhouse curtains, for example, they're going to go to the right landing page and see the products that I want them to see. So this is my process, is essentially as I'm creating my ad groups, make sure I have all my keywords and ads set up first and foremost. And then the main thing that I want to do is use ad group level ad extensions. So with ad extensions, if we click on the plus sign here, there's a lot of options you can add to your campaigns. So if you're accepting phone calls, you want to use call extensions. That's going to allow people on mobile devices to click and call you directly, and people on desktop devices are able to see your phone number so they can quickly call you. Lead form extensions can be really useful. I think if you're not accepting calls and your goal is to drive leads, then lead form extensions can be very useful. I would still prefer a phone call over a lead form because if you get someone on the phone directly, you can land them as a client much easier than if someone does fill out a lead form. Location extension, so if you're using Google My Business, you have a physical location, you want to make sure you set up location extensions. The same goes for affiliate location extension. So that means if you're selling your product at your own location and then you have other stores that carry that product as well, you can use affiliate locations. Price extensions, so these can be really useful. For example, for Surfside PPC, I can say Google Ads services start at $1,000 a month. So you can use price extensions so people know exactly how much things are going to cost before they ever click your advertisement. I think it's a great way to make sure that people are willing to pay your prices before they click on your advertisements. App extension, so if you have a mobile app, you can add that directly to your campaign, and then when people are on mobile devices, you can see it's going to encourage downloads of your app. So if you do want people to use your app instead of your mobile website, an app extension can be very useful here. And then promotion extension, if you're running any special sales or offers, as it shows here, any promotion that you're currently running, you can use directly in your advertisements. Now, they're not all going to apply to every single business. There's a lot of businesses without apps. A lot of businesses don't have set prices for the products on their website. For example, even if we look at farmhouse goals and we come over here to farmhouse curtains, I'm not going to use price extensions and list individual product prices because prices can really vary for each individual curtain. So it's really useful more if you have services or specific prices that people are going to pay. Now, the same thing with location extensions. Not every business has a physical location that they want to drive people to. Lead form and call extensions, if you're not trying to drive leads or if you're just not accepting calls at this time, then they're not going to be useful for you. However, the three extensions that should apply to pretty much every business are site link extensions, callout extensions, and structured snippet extensions. So site link is probably one of the best ways to increase the size of your advertisement and encourage people to visit other relevant pages on your website. So if I'm adding site link extensions for farmhouse curtains, what I can do is click on site link extension, and you're going to see I'm adding it directly to this ad group. So we're going to create new site links. If you already have existing site links, you can come here and go to use existing, come down to the list of the ones you've already created. So for example, I can say, I can send people directly to my shop as one of my site link extensions. Keep scrolling down. If you see any other ideas that you've already created, you can add them here. I can use the home page, but for right now, I'm going to click on save. So now this is going to add one extension to our ad group. So you can see here we have our farmhouse goals shop, and it's added to our campaign. It's at the ad group level. It's already approved. I would recommend adding at least 4 site link extensions for each individual ad group. So for something like farmhouse curtains, what I'm going to do is click on the plus sign here. We're going to go site link extension. And one thing you can do is you can set up a site link for the same exact landing page where you're already sending traffic. So I can just do farmhouse curtains for sale, use that as a site link. So we'll do farmhouse curtains. I'm just going to keep it simple, just do farmhouse curtains. Use my description lines here, so you get 35 characters for description line 1, 35 for description line 2. These are not required, but they are recommended. So I'm going to fill out description lines at the very end. What I'm going to do now is just set my final URL. So we'll come in here and we'll take the final URL and enter it here. So we'll come down site link 2. So what I'm going to do is use some of the product categories and the most relevant product categories on my website. So if we come over here and we're looking at product categories, you can see I have farmhouse curtains. So this is a completely different page. So if I come in here and we copy the link address, I can use this page as well. So final URL, this would send people to the product category, so the shop page on my website. So I can use that as one of my site links, and I can just do shop curtains. And then number 3, what we can do is we'll come back over to product categories. We'll do farmhouse drapes. So we're going to come here. We're going to copy the link address, come right over. We'll paste it at final URL, and we'll do farmhouse drapes. And then for site links 4, what I'm going to do is use valances here. So we'll do farmhouse valances. So not quite curtains, much smaller, and go at the top of the window. Come here. We'll copy the link address, and we'll just come over, enter this as our final URL, and we'll do farmhouse valances. So now what I'm going to do is enter these description lines. If you want to add more site links, just click on add site link. If you don't fill out anything here, there's no problem. But what I recommend doing is using at least 4 site link extensions. So right now I'm going to have 5. So it's going to be the farmhouse goals shop. We're going to have farmhouse curtains. We have shop curtains. So I might end up changing that site link text, but for now it's fine. Farmhouse drapes and farmhouse valances. So I'm just trying to give people some relevant categories. based on what they're searching. If someone's searching for farmhouse curtains, they might be looking for valances, they might be looking for drapes. So all of these are going to be relevant to that individual person. This overall helps your ad relevancy because the better that your ad extensions are and your advertisements are, it's going to help your overall quality score. So what I'm going to do now is enter these description lines. Okay, so I have descriptions for each individual site link now. So we're going to be coming down here to the bottom and we're just going to click on save. So that's going to add all of these site link extensions to our ad group. So you can see right now we have 5 total site link extensions in this ad group. We have Farmhouse Gold Shop, Farmhouse Curtains, Shop Curtains, Farmhouse Drapes, and Farmhouse Valances. So all of these are going to be relevant for our advertisement. So the next thing that we can do is add callout extensions. So if we click here on add extension, we can come here to callout extension. So callout extensions are really good for highlighting specific promotions or specific benefits or anything that people are going to get when they do visit your website. So there's a lot of ways to use callout text. So for example, I could just come in here under callout text and do things like free shipping. I can do free returns. So you can use all of these as callout text. So generally what I try to do is match it when I'm adding it to the ad group level. Things like this are going to work better at the campaign level. So things like free shipping, free returns. Now you'll see a lot of different ideas when it comes to call out text. I like to use it for promotions first and foremost, but if I'm creating them for individual ad groups, what I can do is use some of the different styles that people are going to find, but that could also be useful with structured snippets. So for right now, what I'm going to do is come out and we're going to do structured snippets instead. So we're going to click on cancel, click on the plus sign and use structured snippet extensions. So with structured snippets, what you're able to do is select one of their headers. So if you come here to headers, you can see amenities would be great for hotels, brands would be great for stores who carry specific brands, courses, degree programs, destinations, featured hotels. So for this, the best thing for me would probably be styles. So I could use styles and then go over some of the different styles of curtains that people can find on my website. So one of the main styles here would be buffalo check. So that's just one of the main styles for farmhouse decor is buffalo check. And then if we come down here to the next style, I can do something like modern. And if we come down to the next style, maybe I can do something like ruffled. And if we do another style, I can do something like blackout curtains. So all of these are popular styles. Some of them are more popular for farmhouse decor like ruffled. And then I can add one more value and I could just do rustic. So now you can see the way this advertisement is starting to look. Best farmhouse curtains, farmhouse goals, farmhouse window treatments. You can see we have our structured snippet here. So some of the different styles that people can find. We have our site link extensions here. So you're going to see our advertisement is improving with every ad group level ad extension that we're using. So we can click on save and now we're set with our structured snippet extensions for our curtains ad group. So we're going to click on the plus sign again. Let's come back to callout extensions. So what we can do here is something like top rated curtains. We can do curtains start at $13. For number 3, we can highlight some other relevant categories. So we'll do drapes and valances. And then for callout text 4, we can do something like hundreds of, we'll see if we could fit farm curtains. Okay, so this tells people we have some of the top rated products. We have prices starting very low, some different categories of curtains that people can find. And then for callout text 4, people know there's a huge variety of farmhouse curtains. So pretty simple to use callout extensions. Basically, you just want to highlight some benefits, give people some reason to click on your advertisement and shop your website. So that's it. We can click on save. So now we have our ad extensions all set up for this individual ad group. And what I'm going to have to end up doing is if we come back over to our campaign and we look at our list of ad groups, I'm going to have to do this for each individual ad group. Now it becomes much easier as you start to add more ad groups and you start to add more ad extensions because I can use some of the same ad extensions for farmhouse signs, wood farmhouse signs, metal farmhouse signs, when I eventually create an ad group for farmhouse wall decor. So all of those I'm able to create different types of ad extensions. So I'm going to keep creating this campaign now. I'm going to fast forward through this video a little bit just because it's going to end up boring you with all these little details, but I'm going to keep creating some different ad groups and some different advertisements. The main thing for me though is just making sure for something like wood farmhouse signs, we come into our search keyword. You can see it's very simple. If you see this below first page bid, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would continue building out your campaign. You can always increase bids later. And we could also go back into our settings and change our bid strategy if we choose to change our bid strategy to one of the other options. Now, right now I'm in the ad group level, so you have to come back to the campaign level. to go to your bidding, and we can always try to change our bid strategy and see if something like maximize conversions or target CPA works better for us. I like to just start with manual CPC. We'll get some data, and we could always switch over later to one of these other bid strategies. So we'll click on cancel for now, and what we're going to do is come back to our ad groups and start creating some more ad groups. So I'm going to fast forward to this portion a little bit. Okay, so we're creating one of our next ad groups here, and you can see I'm doing Ray Dunn bowls. So if we come over to my posts, you're going to see I have a bunch of different posts here for Ray Dunn. There's even more that are listed below, but I'm going to target all of these different keywords here. So one of the things you might find is what types of keywords should you target? And if you don't want to use the keyword planner, you want to make things a little bit easier, one option you have, and this is something that I do, is I'll just go right to Google. I search Ray Dunn bowls here, and you can just come right to the bottom to searches related to Ray Dunn bowls, and you're going to see there's a bunch of different options here. So now I have a bunch of different options of keywords that I can target. So what I did is I took some of these keywords and I used them right in my ad group. So I'm targeting all these phrase match keywords: Ray Dunn bowls, Ray Dunn bowl sets. So Ray Dunn bowls should match Ray Dunn bowl sets, but I want to see how each keyword performs separately. Now, one of the things that might happen is if someone types in Ray Dunn soup bowls, which I have a listing of soup, pasta, and cereal bowls all on the same page, it might not match this individual phrase match keyword because the soup is going to break up this phrase. So now I have 5 keywords in this ad group that I can target. So we're using Ray Dunn bowls, and I can target all of these different keywords. So just come over to Google, enter the keyword that you're targeting, and come down to the bottom and look at searches related to, and you're going to be able to find a lot of different keyword ideas. So now we're going to keep creating these different ad groups. So we're going to save and continue, and we can start creating our advertisements. But what I like to do is when I am setting up ad groups, I'd rather just create all of my ads at once. So what I'm going to do is add all these ad groups for Ray Dunn bowls, canisters, Easter. This is going to be our exact match ad group, our Ray Dunn for sale. So we're just going to be targeting Ray Dunn and Ray Dunn pottery and some of those different keywords, but we're going to have Ray Dunn mugs, office, Christmas, Halloween. So we're going to target all of these different keywords. So I'm just going to create each ad group first, and then what we're going to do is click on cancel, create no ads for each ad group yet, and we're just going to do save and continue. So I think it makes it a little bit easier, and I don't have to worry about my keywords starting to run and not having the best advertisements in place. So it's one option you have when you are building your campaigns. It is why there is some benefit to building your campaigns directly in Google Ads Editor. You're going to see we have our ad groups here. So if you're working on things offline, then it allows you to publish them when you're ready, and then it's only going to publish once you have your campaign completely ready to go. So for me, I don't mind building it at the time and letting it run for a little bit like you're going to see here. So if that happens, it's really not the end of the world. So we're going to get back to building some of these different ad groups now. Okay, fast forwarded a bit. So I created some new ad groups here. So Ray Dunn office, mugs, Halloween, Easter. So essentially all the posts that I was showing you over here is where I'm going to be sending traffic to. So I added all of these different ad groups now. So right now I have 13 total ad groups. I created 8 new ones. I had 5 existing ones. So it does take a while to build Google Ads campaigns, as you can see. This is why usually my Google Ads tutorials are anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour about. But to create a large campaign can take a lot of time. So I said this individual campaign is going to have over 50 ad groups total. I've already been working on this campaign for over 2 hours, so it does take almost a full day to build a large Google Ads campaign. But it is worthwhile because the more ad groups you have, the more you can test over time. So I'm going to keep adding ad groups to this campaign. So we're just going to keep moving right down the list. So you're going to see I have another Ray Dunn here for salt and pepper shakers, and then I'm going to do bar stools. And I'm still going to be bidding on some of these Christmas keywords, even though right now, as I'm building this, it's April. So I'm still going to bid on some of these keywords, but I know that the search volume isn't going to be as much as it is as we start getting more into the holiday season. But if I could start getting some of that data in this campaign, then hopefully during the holiday season, I'll be able to see a lift for some of these different holiday keywords as I already have some data for them. So we're just going to keep going right down the list and keep trying to create more and more ad groups for all of these different blog posts. And you're going to see all of these different keywords. So tablecloths, trunks, ladders, dining room decor, sofas, valances, pillows. So it is going to take a lot of time to build this campaign. So I'm going to fast forward through this process a little bit just because I think if I spent 3, 4, or 5 hours building a campaign, most people are going to check out at that point. So I'm going to add more ad groups at this point, and then I'll come back to the video and show you essentially my final strategy as I'm getting ready to completely launch my campaign. Okay, so we fast forward a little bit. At this point, I'm up to 27 total ad groups that I've created. And if we scroll down here, you can see all the different ad groups. In each ad group, so if we're looking at farmhouse trunks, I'm targeting keywords related to farmhouse trunks. I'm going to be sending traffic to my farmhouse trunks page. So if we come back over here, you're going to see this page right here. So I'm going to be sending traffic to that page. And the same thing for all of these other ad groups. So farmhouse tablecloths. So what I like to do is create some of these ad groups directly in the Google Ads interface. And this is where I like to use Google Ads Editor. So right now in my Google Ads Editor, I only have 5 of the ad groups showing. So what I can do is get recent changes, more data, all campaigns, and click on OK. So that will pull in all of those ad groups that I just created for this campaign. Okay, so you'll see we have all of these ad groups in here now, and you're going to see my ad groups contain no active ads. So that's fine with me for right now. So now what I can do is start creating my ads for all of these individual ad groups. The reason why I like using Google Ads Editor for my advertisements is what I can do is I've already created ads for farmhouse curtains. So I'll come in here, I'll take the responsive search ad, and we're just going to copy this responsive search ad. And then what I can do is come over to drapes, which is very similar to curtains. So these advertisements will work very well in this ad group as well. Come over here to curtains, come to the expanded text ad, and we'll do the same thing. So we're going to copy our expanded text ad, and we're going to come over here to farmhouse drapes and paste it. So we have 2 of these advertisements in here now. Now, again, the first thing I like to do is we're going to pull this over here and change our final URLs. So we're going to click on the advertisement. We're in our drapes ad group right now. So we're going to come over to the final URL and change that first. So we're going to open this page and come over to our posts, and you can see farmhouse drapes, rustic drapes. So come here, copy link address, and we're going to come back over to our Google Ads Editor, and we're going to change the final URL. First, we're in our expanded text ad. Now we can come over to our responsive search ad, and we're going to do the same exact thing, expand this, and come down to the bottom and change our final URL to farmhouse drapes. So that's first and foremost, and then you can work your way up or go back down. So I'm just going to come to the top here, and it becomes much easier to change these advertisements when you already have a similar ad. So farmhouse window treatments is a headline that's going to work for drapes as well. And I can do the same thing here. So we'll come back over to curtains again. We're going to take our responsive search ad, we're going to copy it again, and we're going to come down to farmhouse valances. So again, another one that's going to work well for curtains and drapes. We're going to paste the responsive search ad in there, come back up over here. We're going to come over to curtains, take our expanded text ad, we're going to copy it. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Come right back down here to farmhouse valances and paste it. Okay, so one thing we can do to get rid of all these colors, you're going to see the review changes. So the green means we just downloaded it, purple means it's unposted, and red means there's a conflict. So if we click on done, it'll get rid of those greens and purples. So it makes it a little bit easier to see here. So what we can do is we'll come over. Anything you see in bold means there's been some changes done to it. So you're going to see some of these are bold down here at the bottom, and some of these ad groups are bold as well. So that means we started creating our advertisements in these ad groups. So essentially what I'm going to do is just come over right to our farmhouse drapes ad group, and we're just going to change around some of these headlines and description lines to make sure they match the actual keywords that we're targeting. So coming over to keywords, you're going to see we're just targeting the phrase match for farmhouse drapes. I'm going to end up adding more keywords to this campaign, but for the time being, farmhouse drapes, the phrase match is going to work just fine for me. So we're going to come over to our ads. So come back over to our responsive search ad, and we're going to start here, best farmhouse, and we're going to change this to drapes. Now, one thing we can do is use find and replace. So I went over that a little bit before. So we can come here and we can just right click and come down to replace text. So we're going to find text. We could find curtains and just replace it with drapes. So we're going to see how this ends up working out. So we're going to click on replace. It's just going to do it for this advertisement. So we'll come over and you're going to see we have farmhouse drapes, window treatments, farmhouse style drapes. So we still have to kind of look here. So you're going to see here, it was farmhouse curtains and drapes. It changes to farmhouse drapes and drapes. So you still need to double check everything and just make sure that all of your headlines and description lines look good. So right now we'll go through each one. Okay, so coming down here to description line 1, again, we'll have to change a few things here, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. So discover the best farmhouse drapes and rustic style window treatments. You will love our farmhouse drapes and rustic drapes for sale at farmhouse goals. Our path 1, I like to just keep this all lowercase, so we'll just do path 1 is drapes. We have the right final URL. So it makes it a little bit easier to create your advertisements once you start creating them for other ad groups. For example, if I come down to my farmhouse TV stands and we look at this, if we're looking at farmhouse TV stands, you can see there's a lot here just based around furniture. So I can copy this, and if we come over to our ad groups, I can use it in something like bar stools. It'll probably work in something like headboards and ladders. So anything that's more furniture based, these ads are going to work well. And it's the same for Ray Dunn. So as I start creating Ray Dunn advertisements, I'm going to start with the exact ad group here and just do Ray Dunn pottery for sale. And then it's much easier to translate that advertisement for bowls, canisters, Christmas, Easter, Halloween. So hopefully that all makes sense. I mean, I can sit here and create advertisements in each ad group, but this video is just going to end up being much longer than it really needs to be, and you're not going to really be learning anything new. So that's why I like to use Google Ads Editor. I think it's much easier to see the description lines here, and changing around multiple advertisements becomes easier. Duplicating advertisements and changing landing pages, which I'm going to end up doing for all of these ad groups, is a lot easier in Google Ads Editor. So I want to go over kind of my campaign building process a little bit beyond my Google Ads tutorial, so you can see exactly what I do when I'm creating advertisements and when I'm creating campaigns in general. So we're just going to come back over to Drapes and make sure we finish that. So we have our responsive search ad, looks good. We'll come over to our expanded text ad. And again, after I launch a campaign, the last thing I do is I double check all of my advertisements. So if I come in here to my Drapes ad group and I'm seeing curtains and I don't see Drapes featured in my headlines and my description lines, then I want to make sure I change them. I want to make sure all my final URLs are good. That's one of the first things that I check, because there's nothing worse than having an ad group. For example, if I had farmhouse coffee tables and I copy and pasted that ad into Drapes and then I'm sending traffic to the wrong landing page, it's just going to end up hurting my conversion rate, and I'm going to be driving traffic and spending money for clicks that really aren't worthwhile if I'm sending people to the wrong landing page. So want to make sure we update all these ads here. So for this, it's a little bit easier when you're just doing an expanded text ad to change from curtains to Drapes. So farmhouse window treatments, discover the top rated farmhouse, and we'll do Drapes. Okay, if you're looking for farmhouse style Drapes, you will find, and I'll just do them. Add farmhouse goals. So our path 1 will do Drapes, and we have our final URL set. So our advertisements look good for Drapes. So we'll just come down to valences and do the same thing. So farmhouse valences, and one more time, and we'll change the path here, and we want to make sure we change our final URL as well. So again, we're going to come back over to our posts and find our farmhouse valences page down here at the bottom, copy link address, and come back over, and we're just going to copy and paste our final URL in there. For our expanded text ad, we'll do our responsive search ad. So for this, I'll just do it manually. It'd be a little bit easier. So I'll fast forward to this a little bit. Okay, so we have some of our ads created now for valences and for our other ad group here for Drapes. So what I'm able to do is post this now. So we're going to post it to our Google Ads account. And all I need to do is keep going through each of these ad groups and creating my advertisements in them. And again, what I'm going to be doing is running 4 advertisements in each ad group. So I'm going to take all of these advertisements and duplicate them, send traffic to a different landing page. I'm going to do that at the very end. Now, a couple more things I want to go through. So if we come back over to Google Ads and we're just going to come into our valences ad group, you can see we have our keyword that we're targeting here. If we come over to ads and extensions, you're going to see we have our advertisement here. So it's saying this ad group does not have any ads, but we do have advertisements in this ad group now, and we're able to send traffic to the correct landing page and making sure that the keyword that we're targeting matches our ad as well. Okay, now the last thing I want to go through is adding audiences to your search campaign. So one of the things you can do is add audiences with the option to bid higher or lower on specific audiences. Now, you either have the option to add audiences to your campaign level, or you can add them individually to the ad group level. Now, if you start adding audiences to the ad group level, you're not going to be able to add them to the campaign level. So it really depends on what you want to try to do. For example, if we come back over to my ad groups, and let's just say we'll look at farmhouse curtains, for example. So we'll come into farmhouse curtains. One of the things I can do is come in here to audiences, and I can add an audience to the ad group level, and I can come to observation here, and I can just search curtains. And what you're going to see is it's going to pull up the in-market audience for curtains and window treatments. So these are people that are actively researching curtains, window treatments, valences, Drapes, all of these different categories. People are searching keywords related to that, and they're also visiting websites that show that they're in the market for these products. So I can add this to my ad group level, click on save, and I can bid higher specifically on this audience. So we'll take the bid adjustment increase by 10%, for example. So a $10 bid will now become $11. You know, it's not going to be huge for a 25-cent bid, but if you are bidding higher, it can increase it drastically, or I can increase it by 100%. So my 25-cent bid would now be 50 cents. So what I'm going to do as an example is increase this bid by 10%. We're going to click on save. So now my $10 bid would become $11. It's not going to be much again for a 25-cent bid. However, it is a way to bid slightly higher. Now, one of the issues with doing it at the ad group level is, let's just say I come back over here to the campaign level and I start to add an audience to the campaign level. It's going to say one or more ad groups in this campaign already have audience targeting. Please remove the audience targeting from these ad groups before adding audiences to this campaign. So the other option you have is just to add them directly to the campaign level. Really depends on your goals and what you're trying to do. So if you want to add them to each individual ad group, you do have that option. So if I do want to add audiences to my campaign, for example, I would have to come to cancel here. We're going to have to remove this audience. So permanently remove one audience. And maybe for right now, what I can do is just add a couple of audiences. So we'll click here and we'll use observation. So this just allows me to adjust bids higher or lower on this specific audience. We'll say anybody who's visited my website in the past 540 days, anybody who's in the market for home decor. We'll just use these two audiences as an example. Click on save. And then what I can do is I can say if someone is in my remarketing audience, then I'm going to increase it by 100%. So we'll click on save. If someone's in this home decor in-market audience, I'll increase by 25%. So what I'm going to be able to learn over time is how these specific audiences perform in my campaign. That data is going to be segmented here in the audiences. So I can add these specific audiences and bid higher or lower on specific people who are searching my targeted keywords. You could also find audiences and lower your bids if you want to, if you think there's a specific audience that's going to perform worse for you. The other thing we can do is we can come down here to demographics. So if we come to demographics, we could actually remove individual demographics. So I can say if people's ages are unknown, I can remove them altogether. If people's ages are 18 to 24, they tend to perform the worst on my website. I can just come in here and exclude these ages from my ad group. And you could do the same thing with age, gender, household income. You can do combinations and exclusions. So demographics might be worthwhile for you if you know there's specific age groups or genders that are going to perform better on your website. Now, if we come over to settings, this is where we can adjust some of our settings. If we just want to run on the Google Search Network, we can not include Google Search Partners, but I would recommend including Google Search Partners and clicking on Save. Now, under bidding, you're going to see our bidding strategy is Enhanced CPC. I can change my bid strategy here if I wanted to. Coming down, I can change the conversions that I want to drive. You can change your ad rotation settings. I can use dynamic search ads on my website. I have other tutorials about dynamic search ads on my channel if you're interested in learning more about them. And I can adjust my budgets, locations, languages. So all of these can be adjusted directly through the settings. However, I kind of wanted you to get a grasp on how I build campaigns and some of the best practices that I think you should implement in your own campaigns. And essentially, just to keep it simple, make sure you're segmenting your ad groups and keeping them organized. So for me, if someone's searching wood farmhouse signs, I want to make sure I'm targeting that keyword. I can add more keywords here, and they're going to start giving me keyword suggestions as well up here at the top in the notifications. It's going to tell me to add 130 keywords or whatever it is, and I can start to add more keywords here over time. But if I'm targeting this keyword, I can make sure my ads are as relevant as possible. I'm sending people to my farmhouse wood signs landing pages. So I know people are going to get a good, seamless user experience. So people who are actively searching for farmhouse wood signs or whatever they're searching for are going to be able to find a huge list of products that are going to be relevant for them. So that's essentially how I build campaigns. And I always try to gear it towards driving conversions. Now, the best way for me to keep teaching with this campaign is to run it for 15 to 30 days and do some updates over time of how I optimize the campaigns and my overall results and what we can learn from them. Now, the other thing we can do is come up here to recommendations, and Google Ads is going to start giving me some recommendations in here. So if we come down, you're going to see it's going to tell me to add site links to my campaign. So that's something I need to do. It's going to tell me to add callouts to my campaign. That's another thing I need to do. Add structured snippets to my campaign. And then you're going to see download the Google Ads mobile app. So over time, they're going to keep giving me recommendations. So some of them might be to create different advertisements. Some of them might be, you can see here, raise my budgets. You can see bid more efficiently with target CPA. So I'm eventually going to switch over to target CPA. I'll do a video on that. Any of the changes that I'm making that are drastic for this specific campaign, I'm going to start doing that. Right now, it's showing my optimization score is 44.6%. That's really not too out of the ordinary when you first launch a campaign, because Google Ads is going to tell me to add a bunch of new keywords. It's going to tell me to change my bid strategy, raise my budget, add ad extensions. It might tell me to create different advertisements. So all these recommendations are going to show up here. I like the recommendations because it essentially tells you these are things that could be dragging down your conversion rate and increasing your cost per conversion. So if we come back over to our campaigns, you can see we have our search campaign running. I'm going to increase this budget, but I do want to keep improving this campaign. Right now we have 20 clicks. We've spent $4.90. No conversions yet, but I'm not really worried about that right now. One of the things that might look low here is our interaction rate. So if you're starting to see a low interaction rate or a click-through rate in the past, what you can do is come here to segment, and then you can go to network with search partners. So one of the things you might find is search partners are driving a lot of my impressions and only 2 clicks. So this is a pretty low interaction rate, but it all comes from search partners. Now Google search, I still want to improve this interaction rate here. 994 impressions and only 18 clicks isn't the greatest interaction rate. I try to get this above 3% if I can, but a lot of times it just depends on overall competition and how much you're bidding. So my interaction rate is probably pretty low because I'm not bidding very high yet, and I haven't added all of my ad extensions to my advertisements. So over time, I think I can keep increasing this interaction rate, which is going to be really important because if we come into our search campaign, we come over to our keywords and we're looking at our search keywords. One of the things we can look at under columns is our quality score for each individual keyword. So one of the big things it takes into account is our click-through rate. So don't worry if search partners are driving down your click-through rate. It's not going to negatively impact your quality score. You can see we have a low click-through rate here for this individual keyword, and our quality score is still good at 8 out of 10. So I like to keep my quality score 7 out of 10 or above for all these targeted keywords. So that's going to be my goal for this campaign. Now, last but not least is under keywords here, you can always come to search terms, and I always recommend coming to search terms and seeing which search terms are driving clicks and impressions. So we have farmhouse TV stand. These are all looking pretty good. But one of the things I want to add as a negative keyword is DIY. So I don't want people who are looking up DIY projects to find my website. So I'm going to take DIY, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this keyword, we're going to add it as a negative keyword, and all we need to do is take DIY just like this. We're going to add it to our campaign. So now if anybody searches DIY farmhouse shelves, DIY farmhouse TV stand, any of these different projects that people are looking up, I want to add them to my campaign as a negative keyword and click on save. Now the other thing you can do is if we come over here to negative keywords, what I like to do sometimes is import a huge list of negative keywords, and on my website on surfsideppc.com/Google Ads negative keywords, I put together a guide and a list for how to use negative keywords. I have a video tutorial here. So if we keep scrolling down, what I can do is take my negative keyword list for new campaigns that I created, take all of these different keywords right here, we'll copy them, and you probably want to double check these different keywords, but a lot of them, so tutorials, training, templates, salary, a lot of these keywords are people that are looking up something specific in terms of information. If someone's looking for a template, or someone's looking for quotes, or someone's looking for prices, I just want to exclude them from my campaign altogether. I really just want to reach people who are actively researching farmhouse products for sale. So what I can do is come over here, add a new negative keywords or create a new list, or you can use an existing negative keyword list if you have one already. So I have a negative keyword list already. I can add this to my campaign, but what I would prefer to do is we're just going to add new negative keywords. We're going to add them to the campaign level and we're going to copy and paste them. So now we have all of these different keywords added, and right now they're added as broad match negative keywords, which means if anybody types in DIY, definition, Craigslist, anywhere in their search query, my ads will not show. So you can take these ones with multiple words and use them as phrase match, but I'm just going to use them as broad match negative keywords, and we're going to take these, add them directly to our campaign. We're going to click on save. We could create a new list, but that's fine for right now. I'm just going to add this directly to my campaign. So now we have all of these negative keywords added here. You could change the match types if you want for these keywords. However, I'm just going to keep it just like this, and I think that'll help exclude a lot of keywords from my campaign. So we have our search keywords that we're targeting. I need to keep creating my ads here, and I need to keep creating my ad group extensions, but you can get the drift of exactly how I created this campaign, how I use my ad groups and organize them based on the exact place where I'm sending traffic and the keywords that I'm targeting. So we're going to start getting some clicks and impressions in this campaign, and over time I'll keep creating videos showing you how the campaign's going and whether or not I'm seeing it as a success or a failure. So this is my Google Ads campaign building tutorial, how to create search campaigns, and essentially from start to finish, how I create search campaigns using Google Ads and also using Google Ads Editor. I would recommend testing Google Ads Editor, see if you like using it. Some people just prefer to work directly in the interface. I know at times I work a lot in the interface and at times I work a lot in Google Ads Editor. Really depends on what I'm working on. So if you have any questions about any of this, please leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching my video today, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel.